last time Florida State and Virginia Tech got together was Willie Taggart's first game in 2018 at Doak Campbell. About the only thing I remember of that game was that somebody got loose for FSU. It must have been Cam Akers, I think, for a long, long run, the first drive of the game, like 70 yards. And then their offense just stalled. They kicked a field goal. It was 3-zip. And then after that, it was all Hokies, 24-3. And I just remember thinking, Willie Taggart's supposed to be an offensive guy. And I just, but it's his first game. So, all sorts of coaches get off to bad starts trying to correct issues and turn around a program and all that good stuff. So, man, to think that was 6 years ago.
You ready for your soundbite? Willie Taggart walked so Deion Sanders could run. And what I mean by that is everything that we're seeing at Colorado right now is what Willie Taggart wanted to attempt at Florida State, except for winning. And if you go back to that Virginia Tech game, Labor Day, national TV, all prime time, all eyes on Tallahassee. Bobby's first game back that since he had been let go. Mickey Andrews was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, the greatest defensive coordinator, one of the greatest defensive minds in football. Peter Warrick's jersey was being retired, one of the greatest players to ever play college football. They were wearing all black.
That's right.
Sold out game. It was like one of my teammates, Travis Johnson, said if he loses that game, he should be fired immediately because he's like, it's either going to really work in our favor or that's just entirely too much stuff going on for your first football game ever. Like you got to have two of those things happen. Because normally you retire, like the Hall of Fame stuff happens like the lesser game. Like you don't have all of that happening. The music in the locker room, dancing, hip hop, very urban, loving life for us to go out and lay an egg. And then it just never picked up from there. If you even remember correctly, Florida State had all the chances. I remember being in the end zone because my seats were in a different spot than they are now. I actually bought season tickets that year for the first time. And Keith Gavin ran a slant in the end zone. Keith Gavin was a 4-star wide receiver from right outside of Tallahassee. Big body guy. He caught it. And then the Virginia Tech DB tapped him, and he dropped it. And I was just like, yeah, this is indicative of how it's just a weird game. So for that and that alone, I believe we should beat Virginia Tech by 50. But Virginia Tech it scares me, though, because I don't want to go in, and I don't want too much going on, man. Even though Mike Norvell is way different in his approach to how he's going to handle this. But I want to say Virginia Tech is outmanned, but Virginia Tech barely had a secondary when we played them last time. Different coach as well, but I think we should be able to handle this. The game is sold out. It'll be at 3:30. So we'll still have the inherent advantages of being a Florida team. It'll be hot. Hopefully the weather won't be wet and rainy. And hopefully our guys will be able to go and impose their will. So I think it should be a fun game.
Yeah, I just pulled up the box score. So that Cam Akers deal was even worse than I thought. So that was an 85-yard run, and he finished with 14 carries for 82 yards. So he went -3 on the other 13 runs.
Was it Cam or was it Kalen LeBourne who ended up transferring out to go to Marshall? It was one of the running backs.
Yeah, Cam Akers stuck around. Yeah. Yeah, DeAndre Francois, Josh Jackson on the Virginia Tech side. Yep. All right, that was a long time ago. Boy, Florida State, a much different group this year. Will you scout some teams this weekend? Will you just kind of kick back, watch some other games?
I'll probably watch some other games. I think Florida plays Kentucky, I believe. So yep. I'll be watching that. They go up there. Kentucky's like Mark Stoops knows. Like Mark Stoops has been on the wrong side of a lot of those. Again, when people talk about if you win or if the other team loses. One could say that happened a lot with Mark Stoops. So I remember one time, I don't know how this happened, but Kentucky had 2 plays where they only had 10 people on the field, and one of the guys, and it was a wide receiver uncovered. And those were the two of the touchdowns that Florida ended up scoring. One time Florida kicked the field goal, and it was literally after it was delay a game, and the referees just didn't catch it, and that's how they lost. He's had, they also gave Florida the ammunition to have one of the better seasons that they've had when they knocked out Keith Gavin's quarterback during that time. His name escapes me
DeAndre
right
Francois.
now. No, that's for Florida State. For Florida, when they were at the Wakulla High School together. Keith Gavin's
Kyle Trask?
No, but this brought Kyle Trask in.
Oh, Felipe Franks.
Yes, they knocked out Felipe Franks, and they were whooping their behind when Felipe Franks was in. Kyle Trask comes in, and they have this crazy comeback. And it just like if they would have just let, I joke and say, if they wouldn't have hurt the quarterback, they would have won the game, which is typically like the opposite of what people want. But I'll be watching that. I watch Notre Dame, Duke. I'm very interested. I really like what Duke has done, man. Elko's a good coach. But I also like Notre Dame's coach, Freeman, as well. They lost a tough one with Ohio State. I'm still trying to figure out why you had 2 back-to-back plays with 10 guys on the field. You got to take the penalty on one of those because you're going to at least run out of time, but at least give yourself a chance. But I have to look at the rest of the game. Yeah, without a doubt. I will be like the rest of the nation watching Colorado USC, even though I have a pretty good feeling about what's going to happen this week, even though I kind of wish people would stop acting like we all didn't know Colorado didn't stand a chance against Oregon, and like these 2 weeks weren't going to exist. But I also think Colorado might have been done a little bit dirty by not having them ranked. They weren't. We knew what was happening with that, but outside of that, Ole Miss, LSU, no real games like of note that I just care about. So I'll probably be a family man, except for watching my ESPN app.
Gotcha. Well, that's a good thing to be. I will call you on one thing, James. Trevor Lawrence didn't lose to Syracuse.
Oh, he wasn't. So, okay.
Trevor Lawrence his 2 years were undefeated, and then he lost LSU in the championship game. That's the only he came within 1 play of losing. So in 2018, they knocked him out of the game.
Gotcha.
And Chase Bryce came in, the guy that was kind of the transfer portal king of the day, because he then went to Duke, then he went to App State. But Chase Bryce saved their tails with a 4th and 6 completion, or they would have lost the game against Syracuse. The game Trevor Lawrence got knocked out. But yeah, Dino Babers has had a good run against Clemson. They had him by 2 scores in the 4th quarter last year before they let him off the hook. They beat the Kelly Bryant team in 2017. That was the number 1 seed in the college football playoff.
That's what I was thinking about, Kelly Bryant. And but again, he's just giving them. And then, but the other thing, every time we think Dino's going to get fired, he turns in a good season. Like, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, they're tough. I mean, I'm glad we played them here and at Doak. But I think, are they playing Clemson at Clemson, or is it up in Syracuse?
At Syracuse.
Carry it on. Real weird place to play, man. Weird place to play.